The village of Umoa sat in a green valley where tall palm trees moved like dancers in the wind. People were kind, but fear lived in their hearts. The fear had one name, Chief Ogodo. He wore red beads and carried a long staff. He said the gods wanted every first baby boy. When a first son was born, he came before sunrise with white cloth and drums that sounded soft and sad. Mothers held their babies tight. Fathers looked down at the ground. No one spoke. The air in Umoa felt heavy, like rain that never fell. Even the birds were quiet when the moon was full. Children whispered at night, "Why do the gods want our brothers?" No one answered. The fear wrapped the village like a dark cloth. Ifeoma was gentle and brave. Her husband, Nadisi, walked the field and sang while he cut yam vines. They wanted a child for many years. One night, Ifeoma dreamed she was standing by the river. The water was bright like silver, and a soft voice said, "Do not fear. A seed will grow. Guard the light." She woke with her hand on her belly and tears in her eyes. Months later she felt the baby kick, strong and steady. Nadisi laughed and danced in the small hut. But when neighbors heard the news, they looked afraid. "Pray it is a girl," they said. Ifeoma held her belly and whispered, "Child, you are loved." On the night of the first yam festival, the moon was wide and the drums were loud. People wore bright wrappers. Calabashes were full of palm wine. Children played with small rattles. But a quiet went through the crowd like a cold wind when Chief Ogodo walked in. His eyes were hard and his smile was thin. He spoke in a deep voice, "Honor the gods. Give what is due." The elders bowed. Mothers held their sons close. Nadisi stood still, a hand on Ifeoma's shoulder. When they went home, the fire in their hut crackled softly. Ifeoma said, "Our child will come soon." Nadisi looked at the door. "I will not let him take our baby," he said, but his voice shook. They fell asleep holding hands. Before dawn, the baby came with a strong cry that filled the hut like morning light. He was a boy. Ifeoma smiled, tired and happy. "Obis," she whispered. "Gift of the king." Nadisi washed the baby with warm water and wrapped him in clean cloth. Outside, the sky was pale and the birds were waking. From far away, a soft drum began to beat, boom, boom, boom. Ifeoma's smile faded. "He is coming," she said. Nadisi's heart raced, but he lifted his son high and prayed, "Spirits of our fathers, stand with us." He set a small bowl of kola nuts by the door. He took a deep breath. "Today, we break the fear," he said. Chief Ogodo arrived with two men in white cloth. They carried a basket and a small pot of chalk. He did not knock. He pushed the door and stood tall. "A first son has been born," he said, looking at the baby like a hunter looks at a bird. "I have come for the gods." Ifeoma pulled Obis close. Nadisi stepped in front of them. "No more," he said. His knees trembled, but his back was straight. The chief's eyes narrowed. "You dare?" he asked. Outside, neighbors gathered, but no one spoke. Even the wind was still. Then a small voice came from the doorway. Old Mama Nkechi, the storyteller, leaned on her stick. "Chief, leave the child," she said. "The gods do not eat children." Her words hung in the air like a bell. The chief laughed, but it was an angry laugh. He raised his staff. "The gods will punish those who resist," he said. He touched the chalk to the floor and muttered words no one knew. The two men moved toward Ifeoma. Nadisi grabbed the wooden stool and blocked them. "You will not pass," he said. Mama Nkechi began to sing a low song, a song of truth older than the market road. The neighbors joined, one by one, their voices shaking but growing. "We are children of the sun. We are children of the river. We do not feed the dark." The chief shouted for silence, yet the song grew. Then the wind rose. Fire in the heart flickered blue. Obi stopped crying and looked up, calm, his small eyes bright like stars. That night, no one slept. The elders called a meeting under the big Iroko tree. The moon hid behind clouds. The air smelled of rain. Mama Nkechi told a story with tears in her voice. Long ago, a jealous man went to a crooked priest to gain power. He made a wicked vow and blamed it on the gods. That man became our chief. The elders looked at one another. Some faces were ashamed. We feared him more than we feared the truth, one elder said. A young hunter named Chima stepped forward. Let us go to his shrine, he said. If the gods want children, they will say it to our faces. The people nodded slowly. Fear loosened its grip, just a little. The night felt ready for change. They walked to the shrine at the edge of the forest. The trees were tall and black against the sky. The ground was wet and soft. A small red lamp burned before a mud altar covered with feathers and bones. Chief Ogodo stood there already, his staff in his hand, his beads shining like little fires. You come to challenge the gods? He asked. His voice was slow and heavy. Chima stepped forward. We come to hear them, he said. Mama Nkechi raised both hands. Spirits of our fathers and mothers, speak. The wind swirled. A deep rumble rolled under the earth like a drum beneath the ground. The shrine wall cracked. A cold light came from the split, like moonlight underwater. The people gasped and stepped back. A sound rose from inside the shrine. It was not a song and not a cry. It was many small voices at once, like rain on dry leaves. We were taken, the voices whispered. We were not asked. Ifeoma wept. Nadizi clutched Obis to his chest. Chief Ogodo tried to speak, but his throat made a dry hiss. He lifted his staff and shouted strange words, but the staff felt heavy, like a tree root. Thunder flashed without rain. The iroko leaves danced though the air was still. The ground shook. A great wind came from the crack and struck him in the chest. He fell to his knees. His beads snapped and scattered like red seeds. He tried to crawl, but the wind lifted him and threw him down. His eyes opened wide. His tongue turned dark. He did not move again. Morning broke soft and clean. Birds sang loud, as if happy to be heard again. The people stood around the fallen chief. No one cheered. They were quiet the way people are quiet at a river that runs deep. Mama Nkechi spoke, the gods do not eat children. It was a lie made by a greedy heart. Let this be our new song, we will not fear a man like we fear the sky. The elders covered the shrine with fresh clay and sealed it with a simple mark for truth. Chima carried the broken staff and laid it at the foot of the iroko. Ifeoma unwrapped Obis and raised him toward the light. You will laugh in this village, she whispered. You will run on this ground without fear. Days turned into weeks, and Yumua breathed again. Women tied bright wrappers and sang while they pounded yam. Men walked the fields and told jokes at midday. Children played in the dust and shouted, "Catch me if you can." No one watched the road with fear at sunrise. The air felt light, like after rain. At night, Ifeoma sometimes dreamed of the river again. The soft voice returned, not as a warning, but as a blessing. Guard the light, it said. She would wake and watch Obi sleep, his small chest rising and falling. Nadizi would place his hand over theirs and whisper, "Thank you." The village made a new rule under the iroko: no leader would rule without the people's voice, and no secret would hide behind the name of the gods. When Obis turned one, the village held a feast. It was not grand, but it was full of true joy. There were roasted plantains, pepper soup, and sweet palm wine. Drummers played songs that made feet move without thinking. Mama Nkechi told the story of the night the shrine cracked. She spoke slowly, so even the littlest children could understand. Fear grows in the dark, she said. Truth is a small fire, but it is enough to see the path. Chima lifted Obis and spun him once, and everyone laughed. Ifeoma looked at the sky, wide and blue. Nadizi squeezed her hand. Our son will know a village without that old shadow, he said. Ifeoma nodded. And when he dreams, she added, he will dream of light.